So consider this my unpopular NBA opinions Warriors edition video. I have some very unpopular opinions about Golden State, especially for somebody who's not a Golden State fan, and I know they're unpopular because I see the arguments on Twitter, see them on Facebook, YouTube, pretty much anywhere that there's an NBA discussion. I see these arguments, I see the people that agree with them, I see the frequency in which these I guess narratives you would call them. I see how many times they pop up, so I know what I have to say is unpopular, but I'm gonna put them out there for the world to hear today, and if you disagree, there's no problem with that. You can put it in the comments. So first things first, I'm not defending Kevin Durant because I wholeheartedly agree that his move to Golden State was weak. I think that it ruined the NBA because we haven't really had that much suspense since he joined Golden State. We still don't know if we're gonna have suspense anytime soon, so no defending Kevin Durant coming from me. But when people say that Kevin Durant joined a super team, I disagree with that. I don't believe that the 2016 Warriors were a super team. And I don't disagree with the idea because people are basically saying that KD is weak for joining a team that won 73 games and one that had been to back-to-back finals without him and a team that was very good and didn't need him. I don't disagree with any of that. I guess it's more disagreeing that the 2016 Warriors are a super team, and that opens up this entire conversation about what is a super team actually. I made a video on my main channel a long time ago discussing the confusing past and history of super teams because I think people tend to look at names, and I think they tend to look at how teams play, and there just seems to be this zone where they just automatically qualify them for a super team if they performed a certain way, and that's not what a super team is. I don't believe that the 2016 Warriors fall under that category just because they won 73 games. I think the most popular argument is that they had the greatest three-point shooter of all time, that they had the, I believe, Defensive Player of the Year or either Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Draymond Green, and they overall had 3 All-Stars that year, and so people call that super. And I always thought of super team. When I hear that word, I think of a team that's loaded like Golden State is right now, like the Miami Heat were, where you have players that could lead their own team, where you have multiple superstars on the same team that if you took one and put them here and you took one and put them there, they would be the superstars of their own team. And when I look at the 2016 Warriors, were they a very good team that played well together? Were they an extremely cohesive unit? Did they play some of the best basketball we'd ever seen? Yes, they absolutely did. But do you know who also played some of the best basketball I had ever seen? The 2014 Spurs, and we all saw it on display when they played the Miami Heat in the finals. The way they moved the ball, the way they played defense, that was an amazing team that played great basketball, but it wasn't a super team. And so when I'm looking at Golden State, I'm saying, okay, let's separate the 2016 Warriors. Let me be specific. Let's go ahead and separate Curry, Green, and Thompson. Put them on their own teams. We know Curry's going to be a superstar wherever he goes. But are you telling me that you honestly think Draymond Green and Klay Thompson could be the Steph Currys of their own teams? Or not even the Steph Currys, but they could be the superstars of their own teams and take them to the playoffs and take them far? Those are the type of players that you think Green and Thompson are? No, they're amazing players that have been playing an amazing role for an amazing team for a long time now. Thompson is a perfect 3-and-D guy, and he gets all the open looks in the world, and that got even better once Kevin Durant came because now you really can't pay attention to him. Draymond Green has one of the most fortunate situations you've ever seen, even before KD came. He had Steph Curry on one side and he had Klay on the other, and he handles a lot of the ball movement. But in my eyes, what you have with a team like 2016 Golden State is a team that was greater than the sum of its parts. But if you break those 3 guys up, Draymond Green is not all of a sudden the star player of a team, and you're not looking at this team saying, yeah, that's Draymond's team and he's leading them to the playoffs. I highly doubt that. And Klay Thompson is not going to be like a Dwayne Wade type guy where you say that's Thompson's team and he's brought them far in the playoffs and he's the superstar of that team. I don't imagine that role for those guys. And a team like that that's greater than the sum of its parts and they come together and they win 73 games, that's just an amazing basketball team. That doesn't make them a super team. When I think super team, I'm thinking like Boston Celtics of 08 because you had Kevin Garnett, who was an MVP candidate. You had Paul Pierce, who had led the Boston Celtics. He was the superstar of the Boston Celtics, had led them to the Western Conference Finals. You had Ray Allen be the star of his own team. And then those three guys get together. And for the 1 year that they were all healthy and they were somewhat, age friendly, I guess, not really young. I'm just going to say age friendly. That's a super team. When the Miami Heat brought Wade, Bosh, and James together, that was a super team, and it didn't last because Dwayne Wade ended up getting hurt and his knees gave out on him, so it did not last. But for that year, 2011, even some of 2012, that's a super team. Because all of those guys had been the man on their own squad. James was a multiple-time MVP by that point. I believe 2-time MVP. Wade was an MVP candidate. Some people thought he was robbed in, I can't remember, 09, 10, I can't remember, but people thought he was robbed. Bosh, easily a top 5 or even top 3 power forward at the time. He was his own guy in Toronto. Bring those three together, those are the things that make a super team. And so when Kevin Durant joined that Warriors team, again, not protecting him because it was a weak move and they were already established, they were an amazing team. Him joining that Warriors team, that's to me when that became a super team. Now you have 2 MVPs and 2 All-Stars who play their roles beautifully, and the thing that always gets me is that I never heard anybody call the Warriors a super team in 2016. Coming into that season, not even that season, coming into 2015, nobody thought that this Warriors team was going to win the championship. They just came out of nowhere. They became very good in 2015, carried that over into 2016. It was this completely homegrown thing, and people were not, before this whole Warriors dynasty started, people weren't looking at them saying, yep, that's the next super team. That's not what happened. It's revisionist history to me when people try to peg that as a super team, because it's not. And speaking of revisionist history and Kevin Durant's move, I've really wanted to get this on record for a long time because this is revisionist history at its best. And people are starting to forget that when LeBron went to the Heat, it was almost, I would say probably equally as harassed as Kevin Durant. I don't know, honestly, the hate is just so much for both of those guys and what they did. But people forget that they were accusing James of taking the easy way out, probably because of his words. When he was at the party, he said, and I quote, "It's going to be easy." And all that was inspired by having Wade and Bosh at his side, and that inspired the whole thing about winning 7 or 8 championships. And at the time, maybe 7 or 8 was drastic, but we were definitely thinking multiple, and I mean multiple higher than 2. And people said all the same things, that it wasn't competitive. A lot of the same things they say about Kevin Durant, they said about James. But Kevin Durant is a little bit more scrutinized in my opinion because of the way that it happened, because he was beaten by Golden State after being up 3-1, then he went to them, so it's definitely a weaker move. But I don't agree when people try to say that there's just no comparison between Kevin Durant and LeBron James. I think that's the easy way out. I think that's to protect LeBron, and I think it's one of those narratives that I just hate because, okay, look at this. On the surface, those two moves are definitely different. KD gets beat by a team in the conference finals and then goes and joins them. That's one of the weakest things that you could possibly do. And then LeBron James, after years of not having help in Cleveland, goes and joins Wade and Bosh in Miami. But, and on the surface, okay, I agree with you. On the surface, those things are definitely different. But then this is what people start doing. They say Kevin Durant joined a 73-win team, and then they say LeBron James joined a, I believe, 47-win team that was an A seed. And to me, it's like, why even bring the part with LeBron joining a 47-win team? Why even bring that up? Because check this out. I'm going to go with facts here. I have the 2010 and 2011 Miami Heat pulled up. The 2010 Heat got rid of 9 players that summer. 9 whole players. You can only have 15 players on an NBA roster. They got rid of far over half of that 47-win team and changed it completely when they signed LeBron James. And on top of that, that 47-win Heat team did not have Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, easily a top 3 power forward back in 2010, was putting up 24 points and 11 rebounds that season. So when people do this whole thing, to me it's word games, it's mind games when people try to say, yeah, you know, LeBron joined this terrible team, they were an AC before he got there. Fam, that's not the team that LeBron James joined. He joined the one where, because Chris Bosh, if you didn't know, signed to the Miami Heat first. He joined the Miami Heat team that had Dwayne Wade, who could have easily been an MVP the season before that, and Chris Bosh, who is a top 3 power forward. That's the team he joined. He went there with those two and said, we're going to try to build around this. And that's not the same thing as joining an AC team, because I guarantee you that D Wade, before his knees were shot and Chris Bosh by themselves, the year before, I guarantee you would not have been a 47-win team. As a matter of fact, that team would have been competing to go to the NBA Finals, depending on who they had around them. In 2010, that team would have been competing to go to the Finals in the East, definitely. So on the surface, I agree that it was a different move because one was definitely weaker, but the intent of their moves were the same, and that's why when Charles Barkley said the other day, LeBron James started the whole super team thing and now he's made his bed and he's got a lay in it. I don't completely agree with Barkley there because James didn't start super teams, but here's what James did start. He started the trend of superstar players not caring what anybody thinks and just doing whatever the hell they wanted, what was best for their careers. And the other part of what he started there was saying, hey, I'm a superstar player, I'm an MVP talent, I can find some other talents that I think are in their primes that are close to me and we can go join on one team. That's what he started, because what James did in the summer of 2010, you can't find anywhere else in history. You can talk about the Rockets when they tried to bring Barkley together with Hakeem and Drexler, which that was their last year ever even being all-stars, so that's not really the same thing to me. You can talk about the Celtics, who, again, there was no free agent decisions in that entire thing. That was all trades. They traded for Ray Allen, they traded for Kevin Garnett. And again, those guys weren't even really in their primes. They only had 1 year together before age really caught up with them. So my whole point is that yes, there were super teams before LeBron, but that specific type of super team to me, where you talk about the Heat and the Warriors, that was made completely from star players in their prime saying, I'm going to go create a hell of a situation. And LeBron created one in Miami, and that was, it's like an evolution, right? The one in Miami was really, really good, but the one in the Warriors, that's just like pretty much, it's flat out unfair. So in my opinion, Barkley words it wrong when he just says LeBron James started super teams. He has to lay in this bed. He didn't start super teams, but the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors were created from the same intents. They were created from the same ideas, and the idea was to make things as easy as possible. And again, those aren't my words, those are LeBron's. He said it's going to be easy. That's what he was thinking when he joined a top shooting guard and a top power forward. That was his idea. And Kevin Durant didn't say it, but that's obviously what he was thinking when he wanted to join the greatest shooter of all time. And, well, I don't know where you rank Klay Thompson, but one of the greatest shooters of all time, and Draymond Green. He didn't say it on live TV in a party, but that's what he was thinking. It may not look like they were the same because the Miami Heat obviously didn't work out as good as the Golden State Warriors are working out. Because with Miami, it was just unfortunate that D-Wade's knees got shot just about a year after they got together. The first year they got together, Wade could have won Finals MVP if they had beaten Dallas. Next year, I think after Oklahoma's finals, he had knee surgery, and after that, it was downhill. Golden State's already in their second year, and they are showing zero signs of slowing down. So which one was working out better? That's irrelevant, because again, if Miami Heat had have worked out, we might have seen something close to with what we're seeing with Golden State today. So my unpopular opinion here is that no matter how much you guys try to differentiate Kevin Durant and LeBron James situations, and again, I give you credit because you can differentiate them on the surface, you can't just try to save face for LeBron by only looking at the situation on the surface, because it is different there. But if you dig a little bit deeper, the intents and the purpose of those teams and the ideas, very much the same, very much similar. And if you happen to be one of the people that push the idea that, oh, he just joined a 47-win team, you're pushing a false narrative, because there's 9 different players on the team that LeBron actually played on, including a perennial all-star power forward. So that's what I have to say about that situation. And my final words for this video, and again, not defending Kevin Durant, not defending Golden State, but it's just because these arguments and these narratives just bother me to the core. The Golden State Warriors did not sign Kevin Durant just to beat LeBron James. That's not what the purpose of that was. Golden State with this super team has now beaten LeBron James easily twice, and it's popular to always say that they needed 4 All-Stars to beat one man, and oh, you had to assemble this just to beat LeBron, a 33-year-old guy. And look, I get the whole thing about Draymond Green crying not crying, but calling Kevin Durant in the parking lot after they lost the 2016 finals, and I get that, but let's talk about the 2016 finals. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out there, and you can, do with it what you will. But if Andrew Bogut didn't get hurt, if Draymond Green didn't get suspended, the series is over in 5. In 2016, the Warriors win at home in 5 games. That's it. It's over after that. They had all the momentum in the series. They had Cleveland's number. That series was as good as over. But you know what? I'm not taking credit away from Cleveland, because Draymond got himself suspended. a questionable situation there, but whatever. He got himself suspended with all the technicals in the playoffs and whatnot, and sometimes injuries just happen. And as you've seen on all Golden State's runs, people have pretty much always been hurt. So, no, I'm not taking credit away from Cleveland, but I'm saying for as far as the narrative that they signed Kevin Durant to beat LeBron James, they would have beat them that year without anything happening. And the reason they signed Kevin Durant to me was not just with the intent of beating LeBron, it was with the intent of being a dynasty period, no matter who they're playing. When Bob Myers pitched to Kevin Durant, one of the things he told him was that, you can go back to OKC and we don't sign you and we can win a couple of more championships and maybe you'll even get one in OKC. But we come together and we're talking about years of championships. We're talking about a dynasty. And in terms of what he said to him there, my thoughts are that Golden State was going to attempt to have a conversation with Kevin Durant, win or lose. And whether he would have went there is a different story, because in his version, he says that them losing to Cleveland in Game 7 made it possible for him to go there. In other words, he wasn't going to get beat by a team and then see them win the championship and go join them. Now, whether you can trust his word or not, I don't know. That's up to you. My hunch is that you guys probably don't believe him there. But I think that Golden State saw an opportunity for a dynasty, win or lose, and they took it. And as a GM or somebody who is managing a team, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And so I'm thinking that it had less to do with them saying, oh, we got to find a way to beat LeBron James. To me, it was a perfect situation of we just won 73 games, and if we had have won the championship or we lost or whatever happened, Kevin Durant was on the market. And if you can actually think back to 2016, around March, February, there was already reports that Golden State was going to pursue KD. And you can remember during the finals or somewhere during the playoffs, remember that Andrew Bogut said, I don't know why we would need Kevin Durant and we're already good without him. Do you remember that? That's something that actually happened. And that was before they ever knew that they were going to lose the finals. So the Warriors were eyeing KD already. They're saying we got this great team right now. We're already on track to beat the Bulls record and all this good stuff. We got the greatest shooter of all time. But if we can land this guy, if we can lower him away from OKC, it doesn't matter who is on the opposite side of us. We have a chance to win championships for years and years. And it doesn't matter if it's a LeBron or a Westbrook. It does not matter. The only thing that does matter is that we were already a great team, and because of some extremely rare circumstances where Curry got hurt and they could get him on a bargain contract, and where you drafted the greatest or one of the greatest shooters of all time and then drafted Draymond Green, a versatile big man, we have all this together already and we have an opportunity to go for a player like Kevin Durant. And since we have a rare situation like that, win or lose, that's what we're going for. A team that won 73 games and that was up 3-1 in the finals did not need to hire a 7-foot MVP ball handling lethal shooting player just to beat LeBron James. That is not what that was for. And I get it. It's a fun thing to say because there's so much hate going towards the Warriors these days. There's so much hate going towards KD that it's a good release of anger just to say, yeah, you needed all that to beat LeBron. And that's just not what it was, fam. If you tell me that we can do the last couple of years of NBA Finals over completely healthy, I give 2015 to the Cleveland Cavaliers because I don't think Golden State was ready at that particular moment. It's a debate with what Kevin Love and Kyrie would have had defensively against Golden State, but I think Cleveland gets that year, and I think the Warriors get 2016, and I think you go on from there. But as far as you telling me that a 73-win team absolutely had to have one of the greatest players in NBA history to beat LeBron James, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And those are my unpopular opinions. I'm sure I incited a lot of anger, so if I did incite anger with anything I said, that wasn't my intention. These are just my beliefs, and if you believe differently, you can put whatever you think in the comments, although we all know it's not going to go that smoothly. But seriously, not trying to incite any anger, I just know that I tweeted something like this the other day and somebody was like, yeah, I disagree with you, I'm going to need a video explaining it. So that is, these are all the points that I stand behind and why I stand behind them. So if you believe differently, like I said, just put it in the comments. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.